Welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by our friends over at RMB Builders. It's been cool to catch up with some of the coaches on campus this summer, and one that we've been really looking forward to get in here is our friend Coach Matt McMahon of the LSU basketball team, as he is entering year 2 on the contract. And Coach, you know what that means. Year 2 at LSU. But it's great to see you. Good morning. Good morning. How are you, man?
Great to be here. I see it as year 1. Last year you had a year 0 survival mode, but really excited about the group we've been able to put together this spring through the portal in this new era of college athletics, and we've had a good summer so far.
Hell of a challenge you took on last summer. I don't think people really understand what it was like, and to be able to put a team together in the short amount of time like you did. What was it like to finally have, that full off season, the understanding of the conference, what you were really getting into? How beneficial was that to you and the staff?
It was huge, Jordy, the opportunity to be selective in recruiting versus just having to try and get whoever you could to fill out a roster, really identify who's going to be the right fit for our program. But I know we've talked about this before. I think when you are evaluating the prospects of taking a job, you're not necessarily looking at the job for what it currently is. We know this was a disastrous situation, but you're looking at what it could be. And I've said this from day one. I think LSU is an unbelievable long-term opportunity. When you talk about what can it be, you look at baseball. You look at 23,000 LSU fans in Omaha cheering on the Tigers to a national championship. You look at Coach Mulkey in women's basketball filling the arena in Dallas and winning a national championship. You look at the impact of Coach Kelly in football, Coach Clark going to the Final Four in gymnastics. And you look at opening night in the SEC for us last year against Arkansas with almost 12,000 people in the PMAC, and you see what the job can become. So really excited about the opportunities we'll have here moving forward.
Now also being able to move forward without a cloud hanging over your head of what could be, what is going to be, what if. How much has that helped you in your message and just being able to build relationships?
It's everything. The cloud that was over the program was essentially the death penalty. And now that there's finality there and we're able to move the program forward, we really have served the majority of the penalties. The only remaining penalty we'll have after July 31st is 2 more years being a scholarship down, but we'll be able to make that work. So it gives a lot of clarity and finality in the recruiting circles and gives us the opportunity to go and recruit at a high level now. You
could see your name was starting to pop in recruiting circles there towards the last couple of weeks, and you guys are really making a run at revitalizing this roster. Take me through some of the names that are coming in. Let's start with guys that are coming in from high school, Corey Chest and Mike Williams, who you signed.
Yeah, starting with those 2 high school guys. Number 1, Corey, being from New Orleans, number 1 player in the state. What I love about him, not only a great athlete, but just a relentless motor. He only knows one way to play. He's a elite factor on the glass, really good in transition, and he brings great toughness to the program. You look at some of the great LSU teams over the years, they've always had toughness from the state of Louisiana on those rosters, and he certainly brings that. And I think the thing that was really good for Corey was going out to play for Coach Armstrong at Link Academy last year, where they won the national championship. He was in a college-run program every day, and I think that's really helped him in his development as a player. And then Mike Williams, leader, combo guard, really shoots it, brings toughness as well. He played on the NIBC. I have no idea what it stands for, but it's the elite high school programs in the country, the top 10 programs playing a league, and I think that experience will greatly benefit him coming in.
2 of the headliners of the transfers were Will Baker and Damian Jones, 2 big guys who came in. Damian Collins Collins from Kentucky transfers over, and Baker comes in from Nevada. I know those were two big signees for you.
Yeah, huge.
Literally.
Yeah. I think as coaches, as fans, we have to kind of evolve with recruiting in this new era. And the reality is right now the value of that transfer portal and those rankings where we were able to put together a top 5 class in the country is greater than what the high school rankings are at this point. And so we're thrilled with who we were able to attract and sign in that class. The two you mentioned, Will Baker, 7 feet tall, 250 pounds, highly skilled.
Yeah.
And, a guy who was a top 25 recruit in the country 5 years ago. So he's older and experienced in addition to his talent. Was an all Mountain West player last year, which a lot of people don't realize the Mountain West was a higher ranked league than the ACC a year ago. He's San Diego State's run to the national championship game. So the other thing about Will that I love is, we really only had one 3-point threat a year ago, and that was KJ Williams at 6'10". As he leaves, Will also has that ability to stretch the floor. Last 2 years has made almost 53s at 40% from behind the arc. Damian Collins, 6'9", SEC athlete.
Yeah, high flyer.
Elite athlete. Was a McDonald's All-American, consensus top 20 player in the country. And he's been a lot of fun to coach this summer. I've been really impressed with his skill level. It's a little bit higher than I expected coming in. Can step out and shoot it, put the ball on the floor, but high expectations for both.
And then the emphasis of bringing guys that wanted to be here, right? Guys that were from Louisiana, from even Baton Rouge, guys like Jalen Cook and Jordan Wright and Carlos Stewart, and then you throw Hunter Dean on the top of those guys that all have Louisiana flair, but they can play too. What was it like recruiting them back home?
Yeah, trying to steal from great coaches. I saw how Coach Kelly used the portal to bring some Louisiana guys back to get their program restarted. Saw the success of Coach Mulkey, obviously, in the transfer portal. Coach Johnson, what they've been able to do, and we wanted to try and model some of those same things. And I do think it means a lot when you have players who understand what it means to put those 3 letters across your chest and take great pride in wearing that LSU jersey. And this is a unique place. You're the only Power 5 school in the state. Said the day I was blessed to take the job, it's the most iconic brand in all of sports, and that continues to get proven day after day here. We saw it again last night on the ESPYs. And so to have players in an era where a lot of players are simply renting the jersey they're wearing, to get guys who are going to take ownership in that jersey means a lot. And so now you put on top of it that they're very good players. Jordan Wright's a guy who scored 1,200 points in the SEC during his career. Carlos Stewart, first team all-conference out in the West Coast League with Gonzaga and St. Mary, scored 500 points a year ago, shot 40% from 3. Then you get to Jalen Cook, who 20 points a game at Tulane, first team all-conference in the American, 5 assists a game. Last 2 years, top 5% in the country in assist rate. So you're talking about very impactful players who are also going to understand what it means to put that LSU jersey on.
What did you make of your schedule? I know the schedule was put out 2 weeks ago.
As far as the league play?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's no real easy path when you look at the SEC schedule. But we'll see what the dates are. You hope you have a little more balance than what we had a year ago, where you started off with just a brutal stretch and never really recovered. But, I think non-conference-wise, really excited where we've been able to land there. It's been a long time since LSU hosted a Power 5 school in the non-conference in November, December, and to have Kansas State coming in here on December 9th, fresh off their Elite 8 run. It's the week after the SEC championship in Atlanta, so I think that'll be a great opportunity for us. We also want to continue playing in an NBA arena every year. Last year we had the game against Wake Forest in the Atlanta Hawks arena. This year we'll play Texas, soon to be joining the league, but we'll play them in the Houston Rockets arena. And then that Charleston Classic field for ESPN. You got Utah and St. John's with Pitino. You got Houston, who will be a top 5 team in the country. Be a really good field for us. So I'm excited with the direction of the schedule. Going to have a lot of quad 1 opportunities across the board.
What has recruiting, how has it changed for you just in the short term of the jump from Murray State to LSU? Not even with the league, just the rules. How has your approach of recruiting changed? I mean, it doesn't seem like you guys haven't. I mean, it's full season now, right? I mean, it's full year.
Yeah, I think other than Christmas Day, it's like 364 days a year. I think there'll be some modifications to the calendar, but what's changed really is that portal time in the spring. Mm-hmm. It's a long window. We're 60 days, and I think you'll see that get cut back, but it really makes it a year-round deal. And the calendar has changed as well. It used to be you only went off campus in July recruiting. Now you've got weekends in June, so it's really become year-round. But no real changes. You got to go identify elite players that are going to come in and fit the culture of your program and impact winning. Yeah. And I think we were certainly able to do that this spring. Again, when you're starting a program over from scratch, we had to sign 8 new players again this year. Want to get to solid foundation into where you're 3 to 4, maybe 5 players a class. I think continuity starts to become a competitive advantage in this new era of college athletics.
It seems like the momentum is rolling in the right direction on the facility. I mean, it feels like people are talking about it, right? I don't want to put you on the spot, but it feels like there's a lot of movement right now.
Yeah, I think so. Everything you hear is very positive. I think the success of what Coach Mulkey and the women's program bringing the national championship back to Baton Rouge, I think only speeds that process up. And so it's going to be a huge thing, not only for our program, but you look at the success of LSU gymnastics and all the different events that would be in that facility. I think it's going to be huge for the university.
You mentioned the brand, and before you got here, how recognizable and how powerful it was. Somebody that's from here, it's never been as successful as it is right now, where there's so many succeeding at such a high level. What do you contribute to that, being that you're in there, you see it every day, you're a part of it? What's the key ingredient?
Well, I think there's a lot of factors there, but you have to start with having a passionate fan base. If nobody cares, the things that are happening at LSU right now are impossible. So you have this passionate fan base. You have elite leadership in the organization, from President Tate and the Board of Supervisors to Scott Woodward and his team. And then I think you have some of the elite coaches in sports. When you look at the success of these programs right now. And so you combine all of that together, you look at the tradition, look at LSU basketball in the NBA.
I know.
3 of the top 75 players ever to play in the greatest basketball league in the world came from LSU. You see the 4 Final Fours, which I believe is the 3rd or 4th most in the SEC. So there's tradition. And then there's brand recognition, and then I guess the final ingredient, you have star power. Yeah. You start talking about, obviously, Shaq on the basketball side, but then currently Joe Burrow, Angel Reese, Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, Coach Mulkey, Coach Kelly. It's star power.
Yeah.
And that attracts people.
Speaking of star power, we'll be out in Vegas this weekend watching NBA Summer League, which we're really looking forward to do, me and Lil Jay. 5 of your guys suited up, 5 former LSU players suited up for Summer League. How does that help you in recruiting? And obviously you love to see those guys succeeding.
Yeah, it's critical. I was thrilled for KJ Williams. He had his second start in the Summer League on Tuesday. Yeah. 19 points, 13 rebounds, played really well. I think you saw Tari Eason just dominant.
I mean, they were like, Tari, sit down. What are you doing? What are we doing?
Just absolutely.
That might be a starter.
One of the great passes of all time, the sky hook. three-quarter court pass to Jabari Smith for the game winner.
Yeah.
But I think it's huge, and again, it comes back to brand recognition. The reason you want to coach at a place like LSU is you can recruit players that are going to go on and play in the NBA for many years, and so seeing the success of those guys is really important. That when recruits are tuning in, which they're tuning in.
Absolutely.
The Las Vegas NBA Summer Leagues become a huge event in the recruiting circles, and when they see those LSU players out there having success, it's big for us.
How does your schedule work here between training camp? What's going on with the program?
Yeah, we have our 8 weeks of summertime with the players, which has been big for us, not just getting them to the court, but building those relationships and starting to develop some chemistry in that locker room. I think is important. So we're taking advantage of our time on the court, starting our team workouts, and then the weight room. I think Coach Puckett's done a great job with their players there. It's great to get bigger, stronger, faster in the summer, and then just living in the gym, really establishing that winning culture with these guys. So I love our group. It's going to be a fun team to watch. I think we've really put together an older, experienced, and proven group of players that'll shoot the ball well from behind the three-point line, but also have great size and athleticism up in the front court.
Yeah. The SEC has fastly become reputable as the best in nearly every sport. Your sport, I believe, has made the biggest jump in the last 5 years in the league. Facilities, coaches, players. It seems like the best of the best are here. You're in the belly of the beast every day. What do you make of what you're going against?
I agree 100%. I think it was just 7 years ago the SEC barely snuck a third team in the NCAA tournament. And you look at this past year, Arkansas goes to the Sweet 16. I think a lot of people forget. And they had 3 NBA picks.
That's right.
They had a 4th sign a 2-way contract. I think people forget they were the 10 seed in the SEC tournament. Yeah, so it really speaks to the depth of the league. But I think since that time when the SEC barely had 3 teams get to the NCAA tournament, you've seen a huge investment in facilities and coaches, and now you're seeing the benefits of that. You look at 8 teams year in and year out are going to be in the NCAA tournament from this league. Going into this year's NBA draft, since 2020, SEC had 12 more draft picks than any other league in the country, twice as many lottery picks as any other league in the country. And you'll just see that continue to get stronger as Texas and Oklahoma enter the league a year from now.
I know you can't speak specifically of prospects, but in this state, usually the best athletes are football players.
Jalen Cook.
Jalen Cook, for sure. There's one on the board for both football and basketball. How likely is that from your position for somebody to succeed at doing both? You being, one of the sports that I'd imagine you count on that prospect. Because of his. I don't want to speak so individual, but just
sure.
How likely is that?
Well, I think there's a lot of challenges there. You have to be really
committed, right?
Very committed to taking care of your body, to the training. We all know it's become year-round. Some of the other challenges are it's probably easier to do both if the football program stinks because their season ends around November 28th, and then you head on to the team. But we're at a place where the football program's going to be playing deep into January every year, so that presents its own challenges as well. But I definitely think it can be done with all the resources that we have here at LSU, and excited that there'll be some players that have the capability to make that happen.
Absolutely. Coach, incredible, right, to be here year 2 and look like you got your full steam in the engine here as you move forward. So I know year 1 was trying and tough at times, but I think everybody kind of understood the mountain that you were climbing. It's eager to see you on an even playing field and have a chance to compete.
Well, it's going to be awesome, Jordy. I'm so excited about this group we've been able to put together, and can't wait to get back in the PMAC in November and build on the momentum that LSU has around the world right now. And we're just going to do whatever we can to capitalize on that success, and can't wait to get back to it here in November 6th on opening night.
Nice. Head coach Mac McMahon from the LSU basketball team going into year 2 here. Appreciate his time
year
here
one.
this year 1.
Year one, no doubt.
That's right, year 1. Here joining us on this Thursday morning. Thank you as always. We'll be back and close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show.